Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share buttons to stay connected. Your support means a lot and helps this channel grow. So sit back, relax, and let's get started with today's video. The 1981 United States 5-cent piece, commonly called the Jefferson Nickel, is a small but fascinating example of modern American coinage that offers collectors and casual observers a mix of straightforward utility and subtle collectible interest. It follows the long-running Jefferson design first introduced in 1938 by Felix Schlag, with Thomas Jefferson's left-facing bust on the obverse and Jefferson's home, Monticello, on the reverse, continuing the artistic lineage that remained largely unchanged until the early 2000s. Technically, the coin you'll hold in your hand is 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighs 5.00 grams, measures about 21.2 millimeters in diameter, roughly the size of a small bottle cap, and has a plain edge, specifications that make it durable for circulation and consistent with the U.S. Mint's standard nickel formula for most of the post-war era. In 1981, the U.S. Mint struck business circulating nickels at Philadelphia and Denver and produced proofs at San Francisco. Philadelphia produced the largest number, hundreds of millions, while the San Francisco proof issues were produced in the low millions, meaning that perfectly preserved proof nickels are scarcer than typical circulation strikes and therefore slightly more interesting to specialists. Visually, the obverse shows Jefferson's bust with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," plus the date. From 1966 onward, the designer's initials, F.S. Felix Schlag, appear on the obverse below the truncation of the bust, a tiny detail that coin graders look for when studying die states and varieties. The reverse is centered on Monticello, the classical Virginia house designed by Jefferson, with the inscriptions, "E pluribus unum, Monticello," and 5 cents. The clarity of Monticello's architectural details, steps, columns, roofline, is one of the features graders use to differentiate circulated, uncirculated, and proof pieces. From a historical perspective, the Jefferson nickel design was chosen in the late 1930s as part of a trend toward honoring American founders on circulating coinage. Over the decades, the basic design became so familiar to Americans that small stylistic shifts, midmark placements, and die varieties created the niches that hobbyists now study and collect. For the 1981 issues, collectors watch for a few particular varieties and error types. Differences between clear S and weak S, midmark appearances on San Francisco proofs, so-called Type 1 and Type 2 proofs, repunched midmarks, RPMs, on Denver pieces, double dies and die breaks, off-center strikes, and other minting anomalies that can add modest premiums to otherwise common coins. Condition is everything with modern nickels. A 1981 circulation strike in heavily worn condition is worth, in most markets, only face value plus any small numismatic premium for particularly nice examples, whereas an uncirculated or certified mint state MS specimen graded MS65 or higher can command noticeable premiums from collectors because high-grade mint state coins have far fewer surviving examples after decades of handling. For proofs, a clean 1981 S proof in high grade is desirable to type collectors building a proof set and will usually be priced above a typical business strike but still quite affordable relative to older key coins. If you're evaluating a coin in hand, use a loop 10x recommended. Check for bag marks and contact marks common on modern coins. Examine the fields around Monticello for strikes and die defects, and compare the mint mark and small details like the FS initials and the crispness of Jefferson's hair and coat to reference photos. Problems such as post-mint damage, cleaning, scratches, rim nicks drastically reduce value and are not the same as mint errors, which can increase interest. For authentication and for potential resale, many collectors submit high-value or eye-catching pieces to third-party grading services, PCGS, NGC, etc., which provide professional grading, encapsulation, and population reports that help determine rarity and market value. For example, top-graded specimens of 1981 business strikes or certain error varieties can appear on auction records with far higher realized prices than raw pieces. Market values for the common 1981 nickels are modest. Typical circulated examples sell for small multiples of face value depending on grade. Uncirculated business strikes may range from a few dollars to perhaps low double digits for higher mint state grades, and proofs often sell in the low single-digit dollar range unless they are exceptional. Rare error pieces or exceptionally high certified grades can bring nice returns but are the exception rather than the rule. Collecting tips. If you're building a set, try to acquire one each of the 1981P, 1981D, and a 1981S proof in the best condition you can afford. For many collectors, owning a clean proof and an attractive uncirculated business strike satisfies both the aesthetic and completionist urges. Pay attention to provenance for unusual pieces, detailed seller descriptions, photos, and, when possible, auction or grading history, and be cautious of online listings that price common coins far above market value. Conversely, bargains do appear among lots, estate finds, or bulk coin purchases where mixed rolls sometimes conceal higher grade pieces. For storage, avoid PVC flips or rubber bands and opt for inert holders, coin flips made of mylar, or slabs from major grading services for the most important pieces. Stable, dry storage and gentle handling by the edges preserve luster and minimize the tiny abrasions that modern coins easily pick up. Finally, remember that while the 1981 Jefferson Nickel is not a rare key date, it is an excellent teaching coin. It demonstrates the interaction of design history, minting technology, die variety study, grading, and marketplace forces, a small coin that opens the door to the broader, richly detailed world of numismatics. Below is a long, detailed single-paragraph description in English of the United States 5-cent Jefferson coin from 1989, suitable for a 10-minute reading-style explanation for a video or listing. The 1989 United States 5-cent piece, commonly called the Jefferson Nickel, is a member of the long-running Jefferson series introduced in 1938 and, for collectors and casual viewers alike, one of the most familiar everyday coins in American pocket change. Physically, it follows the modern nickel standard, a copper-nickel clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, a mass of about 5.0 grams, a diameter of roughly 21.2 millimeters, and a plain, smooth edge. The metal and size produce the familiar silvery, slightly heavier feel compared with a penny. The 1989 design is the classic Jefferson type. The obverse bears the low-relief portrait of Thomas Jefferson, originally sculpted by Felix Schlag in the late 1930s, a dignified left-facing bust that remained the standard Jefferson portrait for decades, while the reverse shows Jefferson's home, Monticello, with its small classical portico and dome, again Schlag's traditional motif. In 1989, the U.S. Mint struck nickels at Philadelphia and Denver for circulation. Philadelphia pieces are struck with a P Mint mark and Denver with a D, and the San Francisco facility produced proof examples marked S, intended for collectors. The proofs are specially struck on polished planchettes and exhibit mirror-like fields and frosted devices that make the portrait and Monticello stand out sharply. There were no special commemorative designs or major program changes for Jefferson Nickels in that calendar year, so 1989 examples are considered regular issue, and are widely available in pocket change, rolls, and coin dealer stock. For collectors, the 1989 nickel is interesting mainly as a high-grade or proof specimen, and for any minor die varieties or mint error pieces that occasionally surface. Typical circulated 1989 nickels are common and trade at or near face value, while uncirculated mint state MS coins and certified high grades command modest premiums. The precise value depends strongly on grade. MS-60 to Mississippi 63 examples are only slightly above face, while Mississippi 65 and higher can be worth several dollars to collectors, and proof coins in the usual proof grades are also collectible but not rare. When examining a 1989 nickel for condition and authenticity, look for full strike detail on Jefferson's hair and facial features on the obverse and on the horizontal steps of Monticello on the reverse. Collectors often look for full steps on the reverse as a marker of a fully struck coin. Inspect the surfaces for bag marks, contact scratches and any signs of cleaning. Harsh cleaning will reduce collector value. Authentic proofs will show a mirror finish in the fields and a frosted contrast on the devices. Circulated coins will have natural toning and wear at the high points, cheek, hair, and Monticello's roof. Typical collector care advice applies. Avoid abrasive cleaning, store coins in inert holders or certified flips, and consider third-party grading (PCGS) NGC, Annex, etc. for pieces you suspect may be high-grade or error varieties, because certification often substantially improves salability and provides objective grade and authenticity. Historically, the Jefferson Nickel series reflects mid-20th century design tastes and America's celebration of Jefferson as a founding father. The 1989 nickel sits in the pre-2004 steady design period before the westward journey redesign experiments of 2004-2006 and therefore appeals to collectors who prefer the classic Schlag portrait and Monticello reverse. In short, the 1989 Jefferson Nickel is a common, historically familiar coin that becomes interesting to collectors when preserved in high grade, found as an attractive proof, or discovered with an unusual mint error. Otherwise it remains a dependable piece of everyday U.S. coinage and a good entry point for new collectors learning about grading, mint marks, and the small but fascinating world of minor variety collecting. The 1964 United States 5-cent coin, commonly known as the Jefferson Nickel, holds a special place in American coinage history. It was the last year that the U.S. Mint produced nickels with the mintmark located on the right side of Monticello before moving it in later years. This coin is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silver-like appearance, though it contains no real silver. The coin weighs 5.00 grams, has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, and a plain edge. The 1964 nickel was struck in very large quantities, as the United States Mint was trying to meet the increasing demand for coins due to the expanding economy during the 1960s. On the obverse front side, the coin features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the primary author of the Declaration of Independence. The words, "In God We Trust," were inscribed along the left rim, "Liberty," and the year, 1964, appear on the right side. The detailed profile of Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag, symbolizes American ideals of freedom and leadership. The reverse back side of the coin shows an image of Jefferson's famous home, Monticello, located in Virginia. The inscriptions, E pluribus unum, Latin for, out of many, one, appear above the building, while Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America were written below. The 1964 nickel was produced at 2 mints, Philadelphia No Mintmark and Denver D Mintmark. Combined, these mints created over 2.8 billion coins, making it one of the highest mintage years in U.S. history. The reason for this was a national coin shortage in 1964, which prompted the U.S. Mint to strike massive numbers of nickels. Although most of these coins are common and worth only their face value in circulated condition, some special examples, such as proof coins or those with strong strikes and clean surfaces, can be valuable to collectors. A 1964 Jefferson nickel with a high-grade certification can sell for several dollars, and rare varieties like the full steps Monticello design are highly sought after by numismatists. Historically, this coin represents the United States during a time of great social and political change. The 1964 Jefferson Nickel reminds collectors of the nation's strength and resilience during the 1960s, an era marked by progress, conflict, and transformation. Even today, this coin continues to circulate and is recognized for its iconic design and long-standing tradition. The Jefferson Nickel remains one of the most familiar and enduring symbols of American currency, with the 1964 issue being one of the most widely produced and collected among all. In short, the 1964 5-cent coin is a timeless piece of American history, a symbol of Jefferson's legacy, national unity, and the enduring value of everyday currency.